I'm pretty sure that I have just found my all-time new favorite drop shot lure. When you're fishing clear water, especially ultra clear water, anglers are always looking for an edge. We know that the drop shot rig is one of those tools in clear water situations that work exceptionally well. Well, when it comes to the type of presentations that we use with a drop shot in clear water, it's not always straight down. Yes, there are plenty of times when we're vertically fishing straight down, but on a lot of lakes, especially in the northern part of the country, it is not unusual that those bass can still see you 20 to 25 foot down. The water is that clear. So oftentimes, especially in this Great Lakes region, when we're using our drop shot rigs, we are casting it out and presenting it to the fish in a more horizontal type of a pattern, and that is where this particular lure absolutely shines. Now, the lure that I'm talking about is the Baby Z2. Now, this has been out for a couple years. I believe it was ICAST 2018 when this lure was first introduced, and I feel like I'm very slow to the game on this one. But there's a lot of amazing drop shot lures on the market, but let me tell you why this one, for me personally, has just stood heads and tails above the rest. We have different types of plastic on the market, right? We have our traditional soft plastic bodies, and then we also have Elastec. Now, anglers know that the Elastec is very buoyant. It floats like crazy. As a matter of fact, if you have a true Elastec stick bait, for example, and you put it on a wacky rig, it'll just sit there right on the top of the water and not sink at all. And then traditional soft plastics do have some more density to it, and they do sink. Well, when it comes to drop shotting, this makes a big difference. Not only for a vertical presentation, but especially on a horizontal presentation as well. So if I was using a lure like this one is just your traditional Elastec, okay? You can see, you can just pull it all over the place. I've fished with these a lot, done television shows with them, where I catch 20, 30 bass on one bait and it still looks brand new. This particular lure that you'll see in the underwater footage, when I put it on a drop shot rig, stands very much like this. Okay, it goes into a nose down position because this is where the hook is, and then it sits just like this. Well, I don't know about you, I don't see a whole lot of minnows and bluegills and stuff just hanging out in the water perfectly nose down like this. Now, if we impart action to a straight Elastec lure, then it bounces around all over the place, and then we can get some more lifelike appearance out of it. But when you're just holding it there on a pause, go straight up. Now, just the opposite is a traditional soft plastic drop shot type of lure. So this one here, so if I hook it here in the nose, when you're just sitting there, is going to drop down like this, very much in a vertical position the other direction. Now, once again, if you impart action to it and bounce it around a little bit, it moves all over the place and it looks pretty lifelike. But when you're holding it, and when you've got super, super high pressure situations, and you know, the fish are just really got that locked jaw, like on a horrible day like this, when you're just holding it there, this isn't quite gonna get it done. But this one, the Baby Z2, is Elastec. Okay, it's Elastec, but it is salt impregnated. There's a difference when you look at lure packages. Some of them will say salt or salt added, and a lot of times they just have salt on the exterior of the bait. But this one, when you pull it apart, you can see that the salt is actually impregnated, and what happens is that makes this particular lure neutrally buoyant. All right, it's not going to sit up like this, and it's not going to fall down like this. It is neutrally buoyant, and when you look at it on a drop shot rig in the water, it is ridiculous how amazing this particular lure looks. So I told myself I'm going to put this lure to the test. I went out, the heat index was up over 100, sun was still high in the sky, and I wanted to see how many fish I could catch, what type of fish I could catch, and I was fishing this on a power shot rig. In other words, I had a 1/2 ounce drop shot weight, and I was fishing it quickly, letting it sink to the bottom and then horizontally presenting it back to the boat, and I caught fish non-stop. Now there was a lot of those 1-pounders, okay, not super huge fish. I did end up catching maybe about a 30-inch northern. Thought I had just a toad of a largemouth, and then I brought it up to the side of the boat. I'm like, oh man, just a big toothy fish. But everything in the water is gonna eat this particular thing. Now, as far as the horizontal presentation that I was talking about, it's important to know in the clear water, like I said, vertical drop shotting is not always gonna work, especially if the lake's not deep enough. But if you notice here, I have a pretty long leader. Okay, so here's where the hook is. Here's how long the leader is, and I've actually fished leaders 2 to 3 times this length as well. But what this does is when this weight is down here on the bottom and that line is coming back to you in the boat, a long leader will hold this lure up off the bottom, and depending how high or how tall the vegetation is on the bottom of the lake determines how much leader length that I'm going to have. If the vegetation is short, this type of leader is going to work out really well. If the vegetation is a foot or so, then I'm going to go ahead and lengthen that out some more. But I can present this bait and it will just look like it is just swimming, you know, in the water column just off the bottom when you put a long leader to it. And when you fish this super clear water, that is an absolute just deadly strategy. Even on the most difficult of days, I cannot believe how well this was working for me yesterday. Drop shot always works, but it was really working well. If you would like some more information on the power shot rig, check this video out right here. Super awesome tactic, late summer to early fall. And hey, make sure that you go out and encourage someone today. You never know how you might just change their life. For the Bass Fishing Life, I'm your host, Steve Rogers.